This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, Santosh Mani. Now are you able to hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, Santosh. So are you able to hear me?
Yeah, right now.
Okay. Yeah, good. So I just explained brief about so yesterday what we discussed and today what we are going to do. So today we are going to add some more forms. So initially we accepted the customer details, right? We only accepted the customer details. Now I would like to accept the policy details as well. Okay, so if you want to accept the policy details, you should have the properties as well. So what are the properties we need to have? So those properties I am creating. So one is the policy type and one is the vehicle type. Okay, even for the vehicle type, so I would like to have something called, okay, drop down, and under the drop down I used to have whether it is the two-wheeler, three-wheeler or four-wheeler kind of the things. Okay, so for that I changed the control and I made it as a local list, and I have added two-wheeler, three-wheeler and four-wheeler like this. Okay, so policy type and then vehicle type. Okay, and later I used to have the policy start date. So under the policy start date, so I will be changing the data type from text to date format. Okay, so once after having policy start date, and the next thing, policy tenure kind of the thing. Policy tenure. Okay, so policy tenure can be integer. So make it as an integer. So once after having the policy tenure, the last property which I will be having is policy amount. Okay, so policy premium. This policy premium also can be integer type. And you can have one more thing like a insurance amount. Likewise, I am creating all the properties which are required for the policy details. Okay, so insurance amount. Okay, so insurance amount also can be of integer type. So change the property type from text to integer. Okay. Okay, so right now we have all the properties. So where I created all these properties in this particular parent class. So now just refresh this class so that you will be able to see all the properties which we created just now. Okay, so data model, under the data model we will be seeing properties. See, so earlier we used to have only customer age, ID, name, gender, but this time we have insurance amount, policy premium, policy start date, tenure, policy type, and again vehicle type, like this. Okay, so it looks little slow my application. Let me restart. Yes, I got it. Okay, so once after having all these properties, what is the next thing we need to create? Where we will be placing all our controls, where we will be placing all our properties. These properties we will be placing in the section, right? So go to the App Explorer, okay, and then where this will be section will be under the user interface. Earlier we created 4 sections, okay, for customer details, address, office address, house address, and later the container class. In the same way now, okay, I would like to create one more section. So what is the section name? It can be like a policy details section, okay, and create and open. Okay, so now we need to place the properties. So how we can place the properties? We need to drag and drop from the App Explorer to the section. So that is one way, but there is a other way of placing the controls in the section. Okay, so how you can place it means you can go to the basic option here. If you select that, it will display menu. So from the menu, you can select what kind of the control you wanted to place here. Okay, what kind of the control you wanted to place, you can select that. So I want to place it as I want to display as a text area. Okay, then select it and drag it and paste it here. See, like this it is going to display it. So likewise, whatever the property type you wanted to display, you can display here. Text input. You see, like this, text input. Okay, so here I placed the controls, but I did not map these controls to the properties. Okay, I did not assign. So that means this text area is referring to which property, whether it is referring to the insurance type, or whether it is referring to the policy type, otherwise it is referring to the policy start date. So what exactly? So that we need to be referred. But in case if you directly drag and drop the property, okay, directly if you drag and drop the property from here to section, you need not do this kind of the mapping. See here, the first thing is like policy type. See, policy type. So when you drag it and place the property in the layout, so as you already selected the property policy type, so by default this text input is referring to the policy type property. Okay, but if you place the control from here, so what it happens, it is only just placing the control, but it is not mapping to any of these properties. So if you want to map to any of these property, just to double click on this control. Okay, then it will open the control properties. So here the property right now it is blank. So which property you wanted to refer, you can select that. So after the policy type, I want to refer the vehicle type. Okay, so press the down arrow and it is listing all the properties which are available in your current class. So what is the current class? My current class, the section on which I am creating is AIG IMP, AIG IMPL app, and again AIG IMPL work class. But where I have these properties, AIG IMPL work is my work class. But where I have all these properties on the parent class of current class, right? Under the AIG IMPL app, I have it. That means instead of referring to the current class, you need to refer the parent class. Then it will display the properties from the parent class. So how you can see those properties here? How you can see means here you have something called more option. When you select more, then it will list out all the parent classes and then the properties under that parent classes. See, Under the current class, we only have these three properties. Okay, under the parent class, we have these properties. And again, this also having one of the parent like work dash cover. So that contains some of the PRPC default properties. So right now, which I wanted to refer? I wanted to refer vehicle type. Okay, select vehicle type and then submit. So the remaining things, as I explained to you yesterday, the same thing. So use property default, okay, the label, and in case if you want to change it, remove this checkbox and again change it whatever you want. Okay, and then submit. But you should remember one more thing. When you place the control here, as I placed this as a text box, okay, so it will display as a text box only. But this vehicle type property is of what? This vehicle type is referring to what? Whether it is two-wheeler or three-wheeler or four-wheeler. And it is of what kind of the control? Drop down. So in case if you want to display this as a drop down instead of the text box, what you should do? We have to change this. Revert to property default. Yesterday I explained you this as well. So if you select revert to property default, in the property, whatever the control you have applied, in the property, whatever the control you have applied, that will be applied. So it will be treated as a drop down. Now let's submit and see. See, now you got it as a drop down. Okay. Now I placed this control right now. I don't want this. I want to delete it. So how you can delete the properties or else the controls which you don't want on the section? Means you have various options here. So this is called a delete item. Once if you select that, it is going to delete it like this. Okay. So we can either delete the existing controls which we placed, otherwise we can also place the new controls whichever you want. Okay. And sometimes you may have to copy and paste it. Okay. So if you want to copy and paste it, any of these controls, select the control and then we have something called copy. Okay. Copy item and then here it is a paste item and then here it is a cut item. Okay. So this is like MS Word. Maybe you are familiar in MS Word. Okay. We'll be doing copy, paste and again cut. So in the same way here also we can do that. So I have selected copy and then, okay, if you select paste, see, you are getting the duplicate things. Okay, but right now it is adding in the same location. In case if you want to move any control, just to select that control. Okay, and then how you will be moving in the same way here also you'll be moving. Okay, in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, how you will be moving. Okay, select the left mouse button and again drag the pointer. See, it has moved to the below. So likewise you can place it wherever you want. Select the control and then move it like this. Okay. And so in case if you don't want again, as I said, you can delete it. Okay. So right now I copy and pasted. So both are referring to the policy type property. In case if you want to change the reference, okay, how you can change it? So again, double click on it. Otherwise, at the end of the control, you will be having view properties. Okay, and at the end of the control, you will be having view properties. If you select that, okay, here also you can change the property. So right now it is referring to policy type, right? So I want to refer to the different property. So remove that, down arrow. Okay, once if you press the down arrow, you can list out all the properties. So after the policy type, vehicle type, I want to see something called like policy start date. Okay, so policy start date and then submit it. So likewise, you can add all the properties. As I said, in whichever the way you are comfortable, so in that way you can add the properties. So after the policy start date, what else you can do? Policy premium. Okay. After the policy premium, what else? Policy tenure. Okay, so policy tenure, policy premium. What else we missed? Start date, tenure, premium, and then insurance amount, like this. Okay, so now I have all the 6 properties. And as I said, in case if you feel this is the look and feel is not so good, then select the layout. Okay, and then view properties. Okay, so here in case if you want, you can give the header as well, header and title. So enter policy details. Okay, and after that the layout format. So inline grid double if you want, you can give. So inline grid double means it will display as a 2 columns. Okay, otherwise there are various things based on the client need, you can apply it. Other, if you select again in this text box, you can place the control and press the down arrow. So if you press the down arrow, it will display all the values which it contains, stacked with labels left. Generally the people will be following this one. Okay, and then save it. So once after having this section, what is the next thing we need to be created? We need to create something called flow action. Okay, so the flow action only we can refer in the flow. Now do we need to create the container section? And someone, do we need to create the container section? So earlier, first we created enter customer details and then customer house address and then customer office address. So we created these 3 sections and later we created container section as well. Okay, customer details container. And then this container section we placed it into the flow action, right? So now also, do we need to have the container section for this? Why did we create the container section here? Santosh or someone, Ashok, Vishnu. Why did we create the container section? So container section we created by because the flow action can be referred only one section. Flow action can be referred only one section, right? So what are the flow actions we created? Let me open the flow first. In the work class, process, flow, enter customer details in the flow. Okay, so in this flow, the connector here it's referred as a flow action. So open this connector and this is the flow action which it is referring to. So to open the flow action which it is referring to, okay, from the flow itself, if you want to open, here we have something called open rule. Okay, in case if you want to open this customer personal details flow action, okay, here we have something called open rule. Okay, like this you can select. Otherwise, from the class where the flow actions will be there under this. Okay, so from here also you can open it. Okay, so one way is directly from the app explorer we can open it, and the other way is from the flow, the rule which you wanted to open, just to be sure that you will be having the open rule option. And if this is also not sure, then what you can do, from the search menu, okay, here also you can give customer personal details, press enter. So you see, you will be seeing the rule which you created. Like this also you can open the rule. Okay, now in this flow action we refer to the customer details container section. Okay, customer details container section. So here can we select 3 sections? No, as we can select only one section in the from the flow action, so we created a container section. Under the container section we placed all the 3 sections again. Personal detail section, this is one. Okay, house address, this is the second one, and then office address, this is the third one. Okay, so like that we included these three sections in the container section. Okay, which is a customer details container, and then that container section we have referred from the flow action. Okay, now for the policy details we created this section. Now to place this policy details section from the flow action, do we need to have the container section? I explained you clearly why we created the container section in this. Now, how many sections we have for the policy details? We only have one section, right? So as we only have one section, we need not have the container section. Directly this section itself we can select from the flow action. Okay, so create a one more flow action. Create. Again, give the label for that flow action. Policy details. Okay, next create and open. Now from this flow action, refer the section. So what is the section we wanted to refer? Policy details section. Okay, and then save it. So now we have the section ready, flow action ready. Now we need to refer this flow action from the flow. Okay, so how we can refer the flow action from the flow? This is the default one. Okay, under that we referred only customer details section. Okay, now if you want to refer one more flow action, here also we can add the shapes. Okay, if you select this plus icon, now you will be seeing the menu. From that you will be seeing assignment. Okay, as I said, for any of the user interface, if you want to refer, we need to have the assignment in the flow. So drag and drop the assignment. Now after entering the personal details, it should come to the policy details. So that this connector, instead of going to the end shape, it should refer to the second assignment like this. So what I have done, I have just selected this. Okay, when it comes as a hand symbol, and again by selecting the left mouse button and dragging it, we can connect it to the whichever you want, like this. Okay, so move this end shape. Now from this assignment, we need to have the one more connector. Okay, so once after collecting the customer personal details, now here this connector should refer to the, here just to give the label of the connector, enter policy details, and here the flow action we need to be referred. So what is the flow action we created for the policy details? Policy details only. So click the mouse pointer, press the down arrow, and here this symbol indicates, okay, at the right side corner, this symbol indicates this is the smart prompt. So when it is having the smart prompt, when you press the down arrow, it will display the rules available under this particular class. And in case if you want to see more, you can see the parent rules as well, parent class rules as well. So right now my flow action is available here itself. So policy details, select that and then submit it. Now save the flow. Now how can we run and see the flow? By selecting actions menu and then run button. You see here. So the very first screen is the customer personal details. Okay, customer personal details. So enter the personal details. Sorry, number. Okay, and later gender, and later customer age. Okay, so after entering the customer age, then enter the customer house address. So here, are they mandatory fields? No, we made mandatory only for the customer name. Okay, as I told you, this star symbol indicates it's a required field. So I need to give the customer name as a mandatory field and remaining is not required to enter. So if you want to go further, if you want to go to the next screen, you can select submit button. So once if you select submit button, see, earlier it was giving that thank you for your input, but this time it is showing that enter policy details. Okay, why? Because we have modified the flow in such a way that after accepting the customer details, it should be accept the policy details. So after completing this, once you select the submit button, it is going to the next screen. Okay, so what is that next screen? Enter policy details. Okay, so what is the policy type again? Okay, like vehicle insurance. Okay, and what kind of the insurance, what kind of the vehicle you have? So four-wheeler. And then policy start date, like 12. Okay, so 5th and 2019 kind of thing. And policy tenure. First, I would like to take the policy for 2 years. Okay, and then insurance amount. So the insurance of the car can be 5 lakhs. And then policy premium. So the policy premium monthly, it would be around 2000. Okay, so like that, we can give the values, we can enter the policy details. And once after entering the policy details, if you select submit, and then it is going to end the flow. Why it is going to end the flow? Why? Because after collecting the policy details, there is nothing else. So end shape is there. So due to that, it is going to end the flow. So select submit. That's it. So earlier the screen was displaying after entering the customer details itself. But this time the screen is coming even after giving the policy details. Clear? So here we only placed the properties, but how come? Actions, run. See here. So once if you give the personal details, okay, to move to the next screen, okay, to move to the next screen, here you are selecting the submit button. Okay, so these buttons I did not place it actually. We only created this section which you wanted to display to the user. But along with that, as I said, this work object information will come automatically. And along with that, you will be also having these buttons automatically. So these buttons will display based on the customer. Okay, so based on the flow which you have created. And initially I told you that there are 4 types of the flows available. What are they? Standard flow, screen flow, straight through process flow, and again subflow. Okay, standard flow, screen flow, straight through process, and again subflow. Okay, so I told you again, screen flow means it's like a kind of the exam when you are writing, to move back and forth, to move to the previous page, to move to the next page, you can use the screen flow. But here if you see this flow, this is the standard flow, but in the standard flow, after giving the personal details, okay, after giving the personal details from the first screen to the next screen, can I go back to the previous screen? Now I came to the policy details. So I felt that I got some more customer information. So earlier I only entered that the name of the customer is Santosh, but I would like to enter his home address, his office address. So if I want to go back, can I go? No, you cannot go. Why? Because you don't have the previous option here. Okay, so in general, in the standard flow, you can only move forward. You cannot go back to the previous screen. But whereas in case if you want to move back and forth, then you can go for the screen flow. Okay, you can go to the screen flow. Yeah, we'll discuss that as well. And in case if you want to cancel this, you can just cancel this flow. That's it. So that means without giving the values, I have just cancelled this particular flow here. Okay. And again, if you want to begin, you can select the begin option over there. So if you select the begin option, it will go to the place where you closed the flow. In case if you close the flow in the first screen itself, okay, once after coming out from the first screen itself, in case if you select begin, it will go back to the same first screen itself. Okay, so like this, the work object has been saved to the database. So what is the work object ID? I said, so by default it is going to generate the ID. Okay, and this information will be in one of the property. So that is referring to the PYID. Okay, that is referring to the PYID. Okay, PYID is the property which is referring to our work object ID. So for each and every customer, whenever you create a policy, okay, it is going to generate a ID, unique ID, and then that ID is going to assign to the work object for each and every insurance claim, insurance policy. Okay. So here right now we have learned how to place the assignments and how to refer the connectors, and then to the connector how we can map our user interface. So the user interface which we created is the flow action. Okay, and here for the assignment, here it is having just assignment itself, the label. In case if you want to modify this label, just double click on it and then update it accordingly. So the very first thing is the customer policy details. Okay, and here also it is showing enter customer details, the assignment name. This is the enter customer details. Now when you move to the second screen, it should display enter customer policy details. Let me see what it is displaying. Submit. See, enter customer policy details. So like that the assignment label will be displayed here. Clear? So, and the next thing is like this work object information, it is going to saving into the database. So in the database, where exactly it is saving? Okay, can we see that here? Can we open that database and see it here? Yes, you can see it. So where exactly we can go that? Where, how exactly we can start the database? Means generally it will be under the C drive. So where you will be installing your Pega software? Under the C drive. Okay, under the C drive. Okay, where exactly it will be there? Your software. Maybe I installed Pega PE under the Pega Personal Edition. Okay, under that PGSQL, under that PG Admin 4. Okay, under that bin. Okay, under that PG Admin 4. So here, whenever you install Pega Personal Edition, automatically it is going to install the database also for you. Okay, whenever you install the Personal Edition, automatically it is going to create the database also for you. So under the database, so how you can go to the database? So first you go to the folder where you have installed the Personal Edition. So I installed the Personal Edition on my C drive. So you would be installing, maybe it would be on the program files or somewhere else. Okay, so locate that. Okay, Personal Edition folder. Under that, this path is common. PGSQL, PGAdmin 4, and again bin. So under the bin folder, you will be having PGAdmin 4. See, it has started that database. Okay, so under that it will be having servers. Okay, here it will be having local server. Okay, in case if you don't have this local server, what you can do is you can configure the server. So create and then server. Okay, here you can give any name. Okay, this is just like a label. So local server or something like that. Okay, and then server group server. Okay, connect now, comments. Okay, under that, along with that, you can have something called connection as well. Okay, here you need to give the username and password and all those things. Okay, username and password. The host name again like a local server only. Okay, the port will be by default 5432. You can give it as it is. And the database name Postgres, username Postgres, and even the password also will be same thing, Postgres. Okay, and then just select save it. Local server one it is not able to do. Okay, so 1 second. It has given local host, that's it. Okay, maybe I can give anything over there. Local server, here it should be local host only. Okay, local host 543 to Postgres prefer. Let me connect one more thing. Create. Yes, it's got created. So likewise, you can configure your database here, right? So on the servers, create and then server. Here you can give the label anything, the name of the server, but in the connection, I think it will take only local host. Okay, and leave the remaining things as it is, and even the password also same as the username, Postgres. Okay, and then you can, if you want, you can save the password so that it will not ask you the password every time you log in. Once if you save the password. And so once after configuring it, here you will be having something called databases. Under the databases, okay, you will be having something called policy details. Then schemas, public. Okay, under the public, you will be having something called tables. Okay, policy details table. Okay, right mouse button, view data, view all rows. Policy details doesn't have any records. Okay, and along with that, here under the schema, so here you can go for databases. Okay, go for the Postgres. Under the Postgres, you will be having schemas. Under the schemas, you will be having the data. Under the data, you will be having the tables. And under the table, you will be having all the tables which are belongs to your server. Okay, under that, it will be having something called PC underscore EIGIMP. If you see our class name. Okay, so if you see our class name, so our class name will be prefixed with PC underscore. And press the right mouse button, view data, and again view all rows. Okay, so here you will be able to see all the work objects information, how many we created. So right now, what is my work object ID? That is C-98. Okay, so do we have that here? Yes, exactly, C-98. So like this, all the work objects which you created in this server, you can see them here. Okay, and what about the work object information which I entered, like the customer details I entered, and I also entered some policy details. So where exactly it will be there? That will be there in PZPV string. The last thing, PZPV string. So in this particular column, your complete work object information will be there. Okay, but what is this? Is it understandable? It looks like some binary format. Okay, so in Pega, the complete work object information will be stored in the blob format. Okay, in Pega, work object information will be saved in database, okay, table as a blob format. Okay, it will be saved into the blob format. So this blob format, the binary values will be saved in which database column? Under the column PZPV stream. Okay, PZPV stream. Okay, so when you save the work object, it will be saved as a binary format in PZPV stream. And again, next time, if you open the same work object, again it will be converted from binary to XML format, and from XML to, in the UI it will be displayed as the controls and the information as usual, okay, in the text format. So this is what this conversion will be done by automatically. Okay, so as I said, in case if you want to open existing work objects, so right now I am under the C-98. So I also created some more work objects. In case if you want to see those work objects, if you want to open those work objects, how we can see them? How exactly we can see other work objects which we created earlier, C-97 or so. Do we have C-97? Yes, it's there. C-97, C-96, all these things are there under the PYID. Okay, so work object ID will be under the PYID. So how we can see this? And as I said, work objects are an instances of the work class, right? Instances of the work class. So if you want to see all the instances of the work class, how we can see? Means on the work class, press the right mouse button, and here you will be having something called view. Under the view you will be having something called instances. Okay, so once if you select this view instances, it will list out all the work objects you created for this work class. So it has started from C-84 and currently it is running under the C-98. Okay, 84, 85, 86, 87 like this. Right now 98. In case if you want to see any of the work objects, just select that work object and it will open that. Okay, C-86 like this. Under the customer personal details it is there. So in this way we can see the complete work object details by going to that work class, press the right mouse button and then view and then instances. So instances means an objects. So for this work class we can see all the work objects details. Okay, so once you have this, again whichever you wanted to open, you can open that. Okay, right now this work object, okay, right now these work objects are saved under the database table. Okay, what is that? Under the server, it will be having something called Postgres. Under the Postgres, you will be having something called schemas. Under the schemas, data. Under the data, you will be having tables. Under the tables, there will be many tables. And here, your current work object details will be having the name of the table as a prefix with PC underscore and then the name of the work class. So if you want to see those work objects, press the right mouse button and again view data. In case if you want to, you can view all the records, or if you want to see, view first 100 records or view last 100 records like that. Okay, so view first 100 or also it will display same thing. Why? Because it's having less than 100 records. So even if you make it view all the records also, it will be same thing. Okay, so likewise here it will be having complete work object information when it has created. Okay, tx create date time. Okay, so like that everything will be there. Who created this one? The operator ID. Okay, create operator name. Okay, and again create date time, all this. But the work object information will be in the PZPV stream format. Okay, PZPV stream format. Okay, so likewise nobody can read it and understand it. Why? Because customer personal information, right? So in case if anybody has the access to the database, it would be able to, they would be able to steal the information. Okay, so they would be hacked the information. So instead of doing that, it will be saved in the blob format. Okay, that will only display in the work object once if you open that. You can only see the work object details here. Okay, once if you open that, then you can see the work object information. Okay, right now we did not enter anything, but in case if we entered, it will be able to see displayed here. Submit. Okay. C-93. So right now we move to the next one, next screen, policy details. So it will only go to the policy details screen. Okay. So that's the thing. That is the database, how we can see. And one more thing. Here, high level, I said that PC underscore the class name. But is it possible to see from Pega itself in which database table it has saved? Yes, it is possible. How we can see? Open this class definition. Okay, that means if you select that class also, it will open the class definition, right? So select that definition. And once after opening the class definition, in general, for creating the class, we will be selecting what kind of the class, version, whether it is a class group or not, and if it is a class group, which class group it belongs. Okay, and again, the key is PYID. As I said, here also, PYID is the one which contains the work object ID. Okay, PYID is the property which contains the work object IDs. Okay, and along with that, the inheritance, and just below the inheritance we will be having something called test connection. Okay, so if you select this test connection, here it will display the information like, okay, class AIG work is mapped to the table data dot PC underscore our class name. Okay, where in Pega data. So in Pega data database, okay, this class is, the class instances is mapped to this particular database table. So here also, by seeing this, you can understand in which database table it is saving. Okay, otherwise directly by going to the database also, okay, PC underscore the name of the class. So in this way also you can identify in which database table it is saving it. So in case if there is any issue, when you select the test connection, it will display the error. So right now, there are no problems found with this configuration. So it is able to save the records to the database. Okay, so like that, we can see which class mapped to which database.